You're watching 25 News Now at 10. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Don Brubaker.
And I'm Karina Garcia.
Workers are moving soil contaminated by a chemical leak at the Port of Victoria out of the port. San Patricio County Sheriff Oscar Rivera says the 50 to 60 trucks of soil are moving through his county. The soil will go to U.S. Ecology in Robstown. That's a hazardous waste facility designed to handle that kind of material. The oil and chemical spill at the Shamrock Products Terminal at the Port of Victoria happened January 3rd. Authorities say about 300 barrels of crude oil and diesel were leaked. High demand jobs are out there, and now there's grant money available to help train people for those positions.
25 News Now weekend anchor Adam Seibel joins us now with more.
That's right, Don and Karina. So this was a collaboration between Victoria College, the Victoria ISD, and another few agencies. Texas Workforce Commissioner Chairman Brian Daniel was on hand at the Victoria College Emerging Tech Complex for this announcement. They provided nearly $250,000 in funds to help prepare Victoria's educational community for everything needed to train students in subjects like industrial technology and other similar fields.
The Victoria Sales Tax Corporation pledged $150,000. That was matched by the Workforce Commission for another $150 for dollar. That brings $300,000 toward training and support services to this community.
Again, that grant will help Workforce Solutions Golden Crescent, Victoria College, Midcoast Contraction Academy, and the Victoria ISD Career and Technical Education Program. This grant is a partnership with these training entities and is co-funded by the Victoria Sales Tax Development Cooperation. Guajardo says with the new industries coming to the Port of Victoria, this money will help fill those jobs that are in high demand that will soon become available. Don, Karina, back to you.
Adam, thank you. No Democrats filed to be placed on the ballot for this year's Goliad County elections. The Goliad Advance Guard reports the Texas Secretary of State website shows all 9 candidates who filed for the 6 county offices up for election filed as Republicans.
Early voting in Victoria for the February 3rd mayoral election continued Thursday. The numbers from the Victoria County Election Administrator look like this. 246 people voted in person early Thursday, 1,017 total votes so far. 27 mail-in votes were received Thursday, a total of 219 mail-in votes so far.
And early voting for City of Victoria mayor runs through January 30th. Early voting is at the Dr. Patty Dotson Public Health Center, 2805 North Navarro, Classroom A. You can vote this week from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. On January 29th and 30th, you can vote from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. On the ballot is Peter Brown, Carissa Winters, Josephine Solis, Duane Crocker, Jacob Salceda, and Robert Bob Constantine. Join us Saturday, February 3rd for complete coverage of the special mayor election.
Texas election officials are facing challenges with the new Republican-backed election law requirements. Now, this law requires certain counties to increase their number of polling locations, which may pose problems for smaller counties.
So here's your viewer poll tonight. The question is, does your county have enough polling locations, yes or no? According to our results tonight, it looks like 70% stand at yes and the remaining 30% stand at no. Thank you for voting. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part.
There is a road closure in Lavaca County at FM 530 and Speaks at the Navidad River Bridge. Here's a look at why that road is closed. Also, authorities say Wednesday afternoon, suspects took the road closed signs set up for high water at 3 Lavaca County roads. A red pickup was seen in the area of one of these thefts. Call Lavaca County Crime Stoppers at 361-401-1930 with any information. And a river flood warning is now in effect from Friday morning to Sunday morning for the Colorado River at Wharton. The river is expected to crest at 42.9 feet Friday evening. Flood stage there is 39 feet. Let's take a first look at your forecast with First Warn Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Mac Pettis. Yes, Mac, the rain has stopped. Indeed it has, but now we're dealing with the flooding and it's all over the crossroads.
Absolutely, Don. In fact, all that water's got to go somewhere, and it's going to go into our river bottoms. And so, following along with what they were talking about, that's the Aransas, that's the Guadalupe, the Colorado, the Navidad. Basically, any kind of river that's in our area is going to be filling to about moderate flooding. So over the weekend, do be very cautious going down to those areas. You might get cut off and you might not be able to get across. But the good news is this is going to last for about 2-3 days. It's going to run off. And then we've got some dry weather for next week. So we'll be talking about that in just a few minutes.
Mac, thank you. 2 women in the Fort Worth area died of hypothermia following last week's winter freeze. The Tarrant County Medical Examiner's reports 78-year-old Vernestine Kidd developed hypothermia at Mountain Creek Senior Living in Grand Prairie and died at the hospital. Now her family wants answers from that retirement home. They also report 81-year-old Odessa Johnson was found dead in her home after developing hypothermia. Her neighbors say she struggled to take care after herself.
A young pilot from North Carolina is dead after a stolen plane from Addison crashed along the Texas-Oklahoma border on Wednesday. A report from DPS said the plane was stolen from the ATP flight at the Addison airport. It crashed in an open field 9 miles northeast of Telephone and Fannin County. The pilot, 23-year-old Logan James, died in the crash. James had been in contact with the Addison Towers as he was taking off, but later cut communications. The FAA and NTSB are investigating. An arraignment was held for the man who drove his vehicle through a group of migrants last year. George Alvarez pleaded not guilty to intoxication manslaughter with a vehicle Wednesday. These new charges follow the results of a toxicology report. He now has 26 charges, including 8 counts of intoxication manslaughter and 10 counts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon.
Unfortunately, this happens at the height of people coming into our country, and I don't think I'm positioned to even talk about our immigration debate.
Last May, Alvarez lost control of his SUV after running a red light and hit 18 migrants who were at a bus stop. 8 people died with 10 others injured. His trial is scheduled to start on April 29th.
Former pro hockey player Mike Ribeiro was in court Wednesday on charges of sexual assault. The former Dallas Stars player faces 3 charges, 2 counts of sexual assault and 1 count of attempted sexual assault. Prosecutors say he sexually assaulted 2 women in June 2021. 2 of the victims took the stand Wednesday. The 43-year-old is also accused of trying to sexually assault a 3rd woman. His defense says they'll show how law enforcement conducted the investigation incorrectly. Opening statements have begun in the Jennifer Crumley trial. She is charged with involuntary manslaughter along with her husband after their son shot and killed 4 classmates in 2021.
And Crumley's attorneys say she will testify in her defense.
Crumley, the Michigan mom whose son opened fire at Oxford High School, killing 4 students and wounding several others, is on trial. In opening statements, the prosecution telling jurors the shooter's parents were negligent in buying their son the gun used in the November 2021 attack.
Jennifer Crumley didn't pull the trigger that day, but she is responsible for those deaths.
Crumley charged with 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter. Prosecutors also say Mrs. Crumley ignored warning signs that her son's mental health was in peril when school officials told the Crumbleys that they had to get their son help after the teen wrote disturbing messages and drawings they found in a notebook. The Crumbleys declined taking their son home, the shooting happening hours later.
The prosecution has grossly misconstrued facts in this case, and I ask that you wait to make any judgment until all of the evidence has been presented.
The defense telling jurors Crumley is a hypervigilant mother and will testify she had no clue her son was in trouble. Later, the court hearing from 2 educators. Molly Darnell was shot in the arm by the shooter. She described the chilling moments of locking eyes with the gunman before he shot her.
I realize he's raising a gun to me, and the only thing I'm thinking is I have to barricade this door.
The shooter now serving a life sentence without parole. The court also played security video during the shooting. Jurors will hear more testimony tomorrow. The trial for Crumbley's husband is expected to begin March 5th. The shooter pleaded guilty to 24 charges and is serving a life sentence. Tim Pulliam, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Join the young lady sitting about a foot away from me, 25 News Now anchor Karina Garcia for the 2024 Crossroads Heart and Stroke Walk. The event takes place on Saturday, February 3rd at 8 a.m. The walk will start at 8:15 at Riverside Park, located on 311 Memorial Drive. To register or donate, visit crossroadsheartwalk.org to sign up. And Karina, have you been talking with Mac to make sure the weather's going to be great for that day?
We will definitely jump on that and coordinate, and we will let everyone know what's going on.
You two get together on that, yes. And remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell so when you're on YouTube, you can see Crossroads Today. And stay with us, coming up on 25 News Now at 10. The man who set fire to a popular animation studio in Japan in 2019 has been sentenced to death.
Also ahead, positive news for the U.S. economy points to lessening recession fears.
Fire at the anime studio Kyoto Animation in 2019 and killed 36 people has been sentenced to death. The man released gasoline at the studio and set it on fire then. He had told investigators the reason behind the attack was because the studio stole his novel. The defendant's lawyer argued that he suffered from delusions and could not be declared mentally competent. However, prosecutors said his delusions had a limited impact on the crime he committed. The Commerce Department has released a new report on economic growth, showing the U.S. exceeded expectations in the last quarter.
And this has boosted experts' hope on avoiding a recession.
The Commerce Department releasing its latest GDP report showing the U.S. economy grew at a slower pace in the latest quarter, but still performed much better than forecasters expected. According to the Commerce Department, GDP, adjusted for inflation, grew at a 3.3 annual rate over the final 3 months of last year.
We managed to avoid that recession that so many economists were predicting, thanks in part to the strong job market and a rise in consumer confidence.
That strong growth due in large part to an increase in consumer spending, which accounts for roughly 2/3 of U.S. economic activity. Americans opened their wallets this holiday season, with retail sales up 5.6% in December compared to a year ago. Also, the data pointing to infrastructure projects on the state and local level as a contributor to the growth. President Biden Thursday touting the economic data as good news for American families and workers.
Thanks to the American people, America now has the strongest growth, the lowest inflation rate of any major economy in the world.
Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen also touting the benefits of Bidenomics.
Instead of contracting, the economy has continued to grow. driven by American workers and President Biden's economic strategy.
Many experts pointing to other encouraging signals. The latest jobs report showing hiring in December remained robust, far surpassing expectations. And earlier this week, the Dow Jones closing above 38,000 for the first time ever, while the S&P 500 also reaching a record high. But there is another concern brewing, the record high credit card debt in the U.S. Balances topping $1 trillion last year for the first time. Ika Jachi, ABC News, Washington.
Part of a church in New London, Connecticut collapsed this afternoon. At around 1:30, the stone and roof of the church collapsed, leaving a massive hole in a pile of rubble. A search and rescue crew went to the scene, but only one person was believed to have been inside the building at the time of the collapse. Witnesses say she got out safely.
Talking to my wife, and then all of a sudden I hear this boom sound, and I just looked to my left, and I saw the church as a whole, and then I just saw the whole thing just come down collapsing.
There have been no reports of injuries. New London's mayor said engineers are bringing in demolition equipment. The cause of the collapse remains under investigation. Developing gestational diabetes during pregnancy can be stressful.
It often goes away after the baby's born, but for some people, it can stick around.
Between 2 and 10% of people develop gestational diabetes during pregnancy. It's triggered by hormone changes. It can develop into type 2 diabetes after the baby is born. And now a new study by Columbia University shows some people face a higher risk. Scientists found Black, Hispanic, and people from South or Southeast Asia can be 3 to 4 times more likely to develop type 2 diabetes compared to their white counterparts. Researchers also found that the usual reasons some groups are more at risk for various health issues, such as underlying health conditions and social factors, only explain part of the disparities. That highlights the need to dig deeper into the causes. If you do have gestational diabetes, there are ways to reduce the risk of it developing into type 2 diabetes, like lowering your body weight after delivery. Talk to your doctor about the strategies that might be best for you. With this Medical Minute, I'm Jay O'Brien.
Texas Parks and Wildlife commissioners are considering a land swap with SpaceX that would give the company almost 43 acres of land from Boca Chica State Park. You can read the Texas Tribune article on crossroadstoday.com.
Well, good evening, everyone. We are looking at 59 degrees. There's actually a lot of moisture in the air, so we may have a little fog by tomorrow morning. We managed to get up to 74 as the sun came back. The rain is over. In fact, it's going to be gone for a while, but the thing is, it left some significant rainfall totals, and we'll be talking about that coming up in just a moment. Welcome back, everybody. Well, the rain is over. We've got a real good looking weekend coming up, but let's talk about the amount of rain we got, which was unbelievable. Look at this. In the last 5 days, I've taken the Coco Ross, which is a volunteer network. I added them all up, and look at that. Riverside Park has had a total of 7.47 since Monday. Goliad had 6 inches, Hallettsville 10 inches, and Gonzales had 8 and almost 9 inches of rainfall. That is half a year's worth of rain usually, and we got it all. And guess what? And the reason I'm so proud of you is that we had very little problems. I mean, there was a little flooding here and there, but to get that amount of rain and not have a problem, I mean, that's hurricane rain. I mean, getting that much. So that we got it and we didn't have too many problems is great. Now, all that water is going to be rushing down into our rivers, and we've been talking about how there will be rising and there will be minor flooding over the weekend. So generally speaking, we've got a little bit of low cloud cover out there tonight and tomorrow morning. It's basically the low-level moisture that's left over from the rain, but the big storm is pretty much way far gone. Over here, we have a little storms coming out of the Rockies. It's not a big one, and in fact, it's going to stay very far north, but it is going to give us a frontal system that is going to help us out over the weekend. Here in the green, you see rainfall totals, 24 hours, up to 1 inch, and in the blues, 2 inches, okay? But between Karnes County and Gonzales and all the way up in this area, basically along I-35, they had tremendous amount of rain. I mean, talking in the 12-inch category, a foot of rain in the last 5 days. So remember, all that has to roll downstream. Where is downstream? Well, we're downstream, and a lot of that is going to the Gulf. Now, the Guadalupe River here in Victoria is going to have minor flooding. If you know, Riverside Park, obviously, they're going to be barricading some stuff. And then, of course, what's Patriot Park? Is that what we call it now? It used to be Saxit. Yeah, down there. That's going to have some water rising on it also as well. And in Cuero, they're going to have a rise on the Colorado, and of course it's coming downstream all the way to our area. So Mission Valley is probably going to see the rise of the river as well. And farther north, up here, the Colorado River up in Wharton is really going to be on the rise as well, with minor flooding through the weekend. But it's all going to be gone by the time we get to maybe Tuesday or Wednesday of next week. The reason being there's no additional rain coming into it. We're basically draining off everything that fell in the last couple of days. In Future Tracker, we were trying to figure out, okay, what's happening next? Well, you'll see that all of a sudden by tomorrow we'll pick up a little bit of cloud cover. So it's not going to be clear and blue all day. The cloud cover is basically that moisture streaming northward, getting ready for that little frontal system that's coming in, and that one's coming in Friday night. By Saturday, we've got some nice north wind blowing down and keeping us on the nice side, making it feel a little bit more like January, because it's going to give us some dry air. So only about 64 tomorrow. Yeah, we'll see a few clouds. I mean, it's not going to be clear and blue Friday. Same thing in Cuero, but by Saturday, we do get that dry air. We do get sunshine for the weekend, and cooler temperatures, only in the low 60s as high temperatures, a couple of 40s overnight as well. That is your 7-day forecast, reminding everybody there's our QR code. Scan that and we can let you know everything that's going on. And now it's time for sports with Zach Brown.
The Victoria West Warriors baseball team not listening to the outside noise. Hear from interim head coach Jay Perez coming up in sports. The West Warriors have begun baseball practice under interim head coach Jay Perez. He has been with the school for about 9 years, so he certainly knows what he's doing. While head coach Austin Molinaro is out, he's taking on new roles, but says the kids don't even notice the difference. They've just shown up, and although he's currently got a lot more on his plate, it's business as usual.
They are showing up every day with a purpose, and they're ready to change things here for our program. And these kids, I'm telling you, I'd pick them over anybody any day of the week. They're incredible, and they show up and they get after it. You know, these kids are true warriors. They show up every day, and they're working hard. They're putting in the work right now. Let's go.
He says there have been some obvious changes in terms of new roles being fulfilled now that he's currently the head man in charge. But in terms of the team itself, they have been putting in the usual work, finally able to go outside after being forced indoors due to weather. On that same campus, the Warriors basketball team's trying to shake back after falling to the East Titans. They don't play tomorrow, but they do get Miller on Tuesday. The boys trying to get back in the win column, having lost 6 in a row. This is a West team that graduated some great athletes last year, looking to build on something as we enter the final stretch of the regular season. Similar story over on the girls' side of things. They hope to get a win over Miller this Tuesday as well. The girls worked very hard in practice. The energy levels very high. The girls still trying to get that first district win. They lost a close one last time they met Miller by just 4 points, hoping they can churn out a victory this time around. More in girls basketball. We've got a few teams once again ranked in the area. In Class 2A, you've got the Shiner ladies at number 10. They just got done beating Bloomington in a pretty good matchup over at the Bloom. In Class 3A, we've got the Hallettsville girls at number 20. Hallettsville and Edna tied for first place in that district. Those two split the season series this year. Edna left off that list, by the way. And in Class 4A, you're likely soon-to-be district champion Cuero Lady Gobblers, number 17. They have a 2-game lead on Lavernia with 3 games to go, and that's who they play on Tuesday, that game on the road. The Houston Rockets, much improved this year. They've had some tough losses this season, and you can add one more to that long list. Up 3 points with just 1.6 remaining. Grant is going to bury a miraculous 3 to force overtime. The Rockets did fall just short in that overtime period. Blazers snatched the victory away from the Rockets, who have lost their last 2. The Spurs also fall. They lose to the Thunder 140-114. One of the few bright spots for the Spurs, Victor Wembanyama, 24 points and 12 rebounds. And I don't know how they came up with these rankings. We haven't even played the 2024 Super Bowl yet, but according to DraftKings, the Texans and Cowboys have the 8th best odds to win the Super Bowl next year. That's it for your sports. Donna Karina, back to you.
We shall see.
All righty, stay with us. Coming up on 25 News now at 10, we're going to take a last look at your weather. Plus, a homeowner in Tennessee woke up to a tree on his house.
Hockey fans, we are now talking about Lord Stanley's Cup. We're talking about the latest fad. The famous Stanley Tumbler's latest cup design sold out in just 30 minutes. Stanley Tumblers became a viral sensation due to their durability, with the obsession hitting an all-time high when a woman was arrested and accused of stealing 65 of them from a store in California. A limited edition Lunar New Year themed Stanley Tumbler was launched today. featuring a red and cream design with colorful scales in honor of the year of the dragon. A Tennessee homeowner was startled out of his sleep this morning when a tree fell in his house. Bill Cooper woke up to this sight. A huge tree had crashed into his house. Tennessee received a lot of snow last week. Now they're dealing with heavy rain. Cooper said even though the house is damaged, fortunately, no one was hurt.
About 4 o'clock this morning, we were asleep in the bedroom and we heard something crashing, hitting the house. We just kind of threw the covers over us until we felt it was safe. Got up and found the front living room and carport area had a tree through it.
This could be a problem in more areas as rain continues to fall, but luckily we're out of that, rain bubble.
Yeah, and we didn't have rain long enough to get the roots of the trees loose like that. So like I said, we had great rain and a minimum of problems. Wouldn't you agree?
For now.
Okay, well, now the weekend, you got to watch the river bottoms because they'll be on the rise. There's going to be a little bit of flooding as everything drains off, but there's no additional incoming. We've got a little bit of cloud cover and maybe some fog in the morning. However, by Saturday, we pick up a north wind, cooler, dry air rolling in, and the weekend's going to be spectacular. And we've got about 5 to 7 days with no real rainfall to worry about. All right, back to you.
All right, thank you, Mac. And finally tonight, Great Britain and the United States are at a boiling point over tea. A U.S. scientist claims the perfect cup is made with a pinch of added salt.
Okay.
She said the tiny addition is not enough to taste, but is needed to reduce the bitterness. But now she's in hot water. Brits are furious that their national drink is being messed with by us Americans. The U.S. Embassy in the U.K. has distanced themselves from the idea and ensured adding salt to tea is not official U.S. policy. Over there in the U.K., they'll take tea time. They could be working at, it's tea time.
Yep.
For an hour.
What do we have? Coffee time?
Break time, I don't know.
7 times a day.
Yeah, they have it at a specific hour and at a specific time.
Yes.
With little
and
sandwiches?
it's a routine, yeah.
Oh, yes.
So you don't want to mess with their tea at all.
That's
You
right.
do not mess with their tea time because that is it.
Well, we did. We did at one point.
Well, apparently we did, and there was a problem there. But you know what? Our tea
That was
time,
in Boston, I think.
Our tea time is golf.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that's true. Alrighty, well, thank you for joining us for 25 News Now at 10.
Join Carolina Astorine, meteorologist Parker Cox. 25 News Now Sunrise starting at 5 a.m. Good night, everybody.